Back in the early 1990s, the Addams Family was revived in the form of a series of feature films. Now, like many films of the time, these films were licensed out to various software houses to produce tie-in video games, and king of these tie-ins was Ocean Software. Now, Ocean managed to produce an Addams Family game that appeared on pretty much every machine you can think of, all the way from the humble ZX Spectrum right up to the Super Nintendo and Sega Mega Drive. However, for the Sega versions released on the Master System and Mega Drive, Ocean themselves didn't actually publish the titles. For some strange reason, they chose to focus only on publishing on the Super Nintendo and Nintendo Entertainment System formats instead. Rather, the Sega versions were published by Flying Edge, who were part of Acclaim. Now, today we're going to look at the Mega Drive and Master System versions of the Addams Family and see just what the differences are and try to figure out which of these games is actually the superior title. So, here we have the Mega Drive version of Addams Family. As you can see, Acclaim Entertainment, Flying Edge. Flying Edge was set up by Acclaim to help get around the fact that Nintendo wanted anyone who published games on their platform to be exclusive to them and no other consoles. There were a couple of other software houses pulled similar tricks at times. And the Ocean logo. Ocean are fondly remembered by many Brits as being the software house of the 80s and 90s, especially with licensed titles like this. Now, this is a pretty nice little intro that's been done here with Thing and the little rotating box, which takes you to a nicely atmospheric splash screen. Now, you can't hear the music here because I've muted it because, yay, YouTube copyright strikes. But it's a pretty decent chiptune rendition of the Addams Family theme song, which I think pretty much everyone recognises. You know, the one with the for you to listen to. Quite a simple title screen there, nothing fancy, no options other than a password, and here you are. Welcome to the Addams Family. It's a pretty decent looking game, although it is fairly obvious to me certainly that when you look at the Gomez sprite, even though this is based on the film and the film starred Raul Julia as Gomez, the sprite is designed and looks a lot more like the classic 1960s John Astin version of the character. Now, as I said, this is a fairly typical Euro style platformer. Doesn't play or feel quite the same as most 16-bit platformers which came from Japan did, but it does its job. Now, the biggest problem I have with the controls in this game is there's inertia. When you move in and you want to stop, you don't stop straight away, you slide a bit. It's weird, and it makes it rather difficult to control at times, which obviously in a platform game is not ideal. Now, to score points, you jump on the head of enemies, very platform style, or you can just see at the top of the screen there, there's a little spinny dollar sign. You collect those dollar symbols. Now, the game is a bit Metroidvania-ish in that you can go back and forth through the levels. Eventually, you'll get into the Addams Family mansion. But at the moment, we're out here in the grounds, and we are headed into an underground area. Now, obviously this is a platform game. I'm pretty sure I don't remember ghosts and psycho rabbits and such in the actual film, but never mind. Now, you can see the green A box there. That acts as a hint box, very Mario-esque feature there, just giving you directions on where to go, what to do. As you play as well, you'll pick up these little power-ups, which are limited. Now, this is the most annoying power-up I've just picked up here. It's the speed-up power-up, because in a platform game, as I've said, where inertia happens, you want to be moving at Sonic the Hedgehog type speeds, because that's really sensible. Now, when you do get hit, you will lose your power-up, so that does give you a bit of extra protection, because you only have, as you can see, 2 hearts per life. And this being a Euro platformer, this can get a bit hectic hectic at times. It's like somebody decided that the best way to do the difficulty was just to fill the game with as many enemies as humanly possible. And finally lost all my lives, and here's the continue or quit screen. It's a bit nice, and it has a weird little trick up its sleeve. You can pause the continue screen. Yeah. Anyway, that's the Mega Drive version, so we'll move on to the Master System version next. And here we are on the Master System. Again, it's Flying Edge, and we don't actually get a proper Ocean logo this time. We just go straight through to a very simple title screen. Now, the title screen does lead us to a nice little intro here, very atmospheric with the lightning flashing and the little Gomez sprite trotting along. And yeah, again, the music is a fairly decent 8-bit rendition of the Addams Family theme. Not necessarily the strongest, but it's pretty good. Now, this is where the games diverge. You have an inventory system on the Master System version, and you also have a different layout. The Master System version is a bit more linear than the Mega Drive one. It's more of a traditional platform game. You know, you go through the levels, you jump on people's heads. There is some back and forth, but everything is done in a much, much more linear manner than it's done on the Mega Drive version. Obviously, there's plenty of things to pick up here. There's cash, there's gold bars you can see, and this is annoying. Thankfully, you'll be really grateful that I've turned the sound off here because of the copyright strikes, because every time you get hit, there's an annoying squee noise that you get. Now, as you can see, we're headed through the garden here. We're looking for the entryway to the next level. You have an energy bar in this game rather than hearts, which can be refilled by picking up cheese, because we all love a bit of cheese. You know, anyone who doesn't like cheese has a problem, I have to say. But anyway, I've got to be honest, this game actually looks pretty good for the Master System. You know, the graphics are colourful, the animation's decent, and everything sort of just works. You know, there are various others on the system that maybe look a little bit better than this, say Castle of Illusion, for example, or Donald Duck's Lucky Dime Caper, but this is a pretty good looking game for the system, and it handles well. It doesn't have that annoying inertia that the Mega Drive version has. It controls very, very differently, much more like a normal platformer, although as you will rapidly learn, I am utterly trash at games like this. Really, really bad. But it's still, you know, it's still a decent game. It looks good. It sounds pretty good, apart from that annoying death noise. But yeah, I'm rubbish at it. But it is distinctly different to its 16-bit counterpart. Probably because they felt that the way the 16-bit version was laid out was probably a little too much for the trusty old Master System to handle. But anyway, there's the Master System version of Addams Family, and I die again. So, which is the better version of the Addams Family in this battle of the bits? I have to say, I don't think there's a winner here. I think they're both good in their own ways based on the systems that they're released on. The Mega Drive one obviously is a bit more refined, a bit more polished. It's a bit different, you've got more to do. But the Master System one is a solid entry in the Master System's really rather good platform game library. Yes, it's not a top tier game like Sonic the Hedgehog or Castle of Illusion or the Donald Duck games, but it's certainly up there in that sort of B plus tier of platform games, which if you are good at them and you like them, you'll get a lot of enjoyment from. So it's a tie, but my personal preference to play is the Mega Drive version, even though the inertia in the controls is frustrating. I just think it's There's just a little bit more meat to the bones, but when everything's taken into consideration, it's a solid draw. Anyway, I've been Rob. This has been 81632-bit presents Battle of the Bits episode 5. If you've enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe, even ring the bell for notifications if you really love it. If not, don't. It's up to you. Until next time though, this is Rob saying so long.